Hello guys, how you doing? Right, so I'm going to dive straight into it because we've got a lot to cover. But what we're doing, we're about to create your nutrition plan that you're going to be following. Okay, this is by far the most important part of the process, more important than the exercise. Okay, so do not get this wrong. You cannot guess this. If you guess this, there's a very good chance that you could end up putting on weight, which we don't want to do. Right, so what is this called? It's called carb cycling, and it's one of the best methods that you can use to help you strip fat whilst maintaining as much muscle as possible. All right, so let's jump straight into it. So of this video here that you're seeing here, this is the video that we're creating. That's why you've seen this on the screen. So at the bottom here, you've got three different buttons. You've got the instructions, short version, instructions, long version, and carb cycling, the template that you're going to be using to create your nutrition plan. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the long version. You can click it, go through it yourself. But what I'm going to do is go through the short version and help you create the carb cycling plan. So let's just dive into it, and you're going to learn on the way. What I would encourage you to do is potentially go through this video, just watch what I do, how I do it, then go through it again and pause it at the relevant points and fill in the things that you need to fill in for yourself. Okay, so let's begin. So what will happen if you click the short version? It will open up a PDF. You can download it if you wish. You can print it off. You don't really need this. This is just going to be used for a template to be able to create the relevant figures that you need for your nutrition plan. So you can just write the things needed on a piece of paper. You'll see as I go along. And then the next step is you need a carb cycling template. And what you do, click it like so. It sends off a PDF. You can print this off and then you can change it if needs be. But what I would encourage, if you want to do it on a computer and manipulate it on a computer and you can edit it on the computer, here's a clever little trick. So if you download this one to your computer like so download it, and then you go to something called Google Drive. If you haven't got it, it's very simple. Create Google Drive account. It will look like this. If you open up your download folders within your computer like so, and then see it's the carb cycling plan. If I drag it across like so, it should populate into my folder. And then if I right click it and then open with, and it will say Google Docs. So then what I've done is I've taken the PDF, which you've downloaded from the website, turn it into Google Docs, and now we can alter it as needs be. And what I'm talking about is this table here is the one that we need to alter. And it's gone really funny at the moment because it shouldn't look like that. It should look like this. But obviously don't. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video and make get it the way it needs to be. But we don't need to come on to that part yet. So let's go back to the instructions for the short version. Okay, and what we're doing, we're creating your calculations, your macronutrients, to be able to, so you know what you need your carb cycling figures are going to be. So this is this document here, as you'll see. So I'm opening up the back end. So the first part is drops 2% body fat. The first thing we need to do is figure out your daily calories, which we're going to do right now. So this is how you do it. Very simple. There's two different calculations. There's a woman calculation and there's a gentleman's calculation. So as I'm a gentleman, I'm going to use the gentleman's calculation. I'm going to do mine. You might know how to do this, so you crack on if you know how to do it. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to go through this calculation for people who don't know. So let me pause the video and I'm going to open up the next step. So this is the way I do it. What we're doing for the first step of calculating your figuring out your calories is we need to figure out your BMR, basic metabolic rate. And this is the way I do it. So obviously I'm a gentleman. So I get this calculation. I obviously insert what I need. So I'm 190 pounds. I'm 72 inches tall and I'm 32 years old. So the next calculation I do is the ones in brackets. So I'm going to do this calculation, put it here, do this calculation here, and then put it here, and then do this calculation and put it here like so. So we got 6.23, as you can see here, times 190 equals 1,183.7. So a bit of a tip, when you see the point, I just round it up or round it down. So as this is a round up, it's So I'm going to go up 1,184, 1,184. And then as you can see, the next one's a plus sign. Forgive me if you understand this, but I just want to make it dummy proof. And then I'm going to do the next calculation, which is this one here. So it's 12.7 times 70, oh, not 82, not that tall, 72, which is 914.4. Again, I'm just going to round it down. So 914. I'm not going to worry about the decimal. I would do if I was someone who's doing a bodybuilding competition and going on stage, trying to show off your body and physique. But just because I'm trying to lose 2% body fat, 2% body fat within the next 30 days. So this is what I'm going to do. So next one is this calculation. It's 6.8 times 32 equals 217.6. Again, just round up. So it's 218. 218. And then the next one. And then I just figure, and then, so then all I need to do is this calculation, and then this total calculation is my BMR, basic metabolic rate. So 66 plus 1184 plus 914. It's not plus, that's minus. We'll see how, I just noticed that says a plus, but because I've done this so many times, I know it's a minus, so be careful. Minus, I'm going to do that again because I got it wrong. 66 plus 1184 plus 914 minus 218. So basic metabolic rate. So my basic metabolic rate is 1,964, which I'm going to populate here. 1,964. So that is part one. Step one of calculating your calories, daily calories. So your BMR is your basic metabolic rate. And what it means is this is how many calories you need a day to maintain the way you are if you was to do nothing all day long. So if I was to wake up, stay in bed, not do absolutely anything all day long, and I ate 1,964 calories, my body will remain the same. I will remain the same weight, etc., etc. But I don't stay in bed. I do some activity. So what we need to do, we need to multiply this number with the relevant activity level. So what we do, we go to the next page, and you put how active you are with this. So if you're someone who has an office job, you're obviously sedentary. If you're someone who is like a scaffolder or a bricklayer or postman, then you're most likely going to be extra active because you're active every single day, walking loads of miles if you're a postman. Same if you're a bricklayer or scaffolder. So for me, I pretty much have an office job, but I do work out every single day. I work out pretty much 6 to 7 days a week, but it is only an hour. Sometimes it's 45 minutes. Sometimes it's 20 minutes. Sometimes I'm more active. Sometimes I'm less active. So what I do, a personal preference, is I go down a couple of notches just to make sure and compensate for the days that I don't do as much. So I work out between 6 to 7 days a week. Like I said, it could be an hour, sometimes it could be 45 minutes, sometimes it could be 20 minutes. So I'm going to go down 2 because the rest of the time I'm a bit of an office worker. So I'm going to get my 1,964 and I'm going to calculate it, times it by this one, 1.375. So like so. So there's my number. And I'm going to times it by 1.375 equals 2,675. Again, I just round it up or round it down. Here, round it up. So 2,676, which is what I'm going to put in here. 2,007. Oh, is it 2,676, like so. And what this gives me is my maintenance calories, my daily maintenance calorie. If I was to remain exactly the way, if I wanted to remain the way I am, this is how many calories I would intake every single day. And I would not go up weight and I would not go down weight. Well, maybe fluctuate, but this is how many calories I need to maintain. However, we don't want to maintain. We want to change. So we want to lose body fat percentage. So what we do, we get our maintenance level like so. So our maintenance daily calorie intake, which is this number here, 2000, sorry. Yeah, this is maintained 2,676. And then we've got to manipulate it. If you want to increase weight, you add 20%. If you want to decrease weight and we want to lose body fat, we're going to decrease minus 20%. So we're going to get this number, figure out what 20% of it is. So times 0.2 gives me 535. So I want to take 535 away from 2,676, 2,141. So 2,141 is my daily calorie intake for me to be able to lose weight. So if I get 2,141 calories every single day, I would lose weight every day, basically. To make it simple, we are going to just round it. So I round it to the nearest 100, so 2,100. And that's how many calories I need to intake every single day to make sure I drop body fat percentage. So now that we've figured out our daily calorie intake, 2,100, and this is part of the full table on your carb cycling plan. So if you download this one here, this one should pop up here, and there's more information that you can read. It tells you about fluids, it tells you about your cheat day, etc., etc. But you can start populating this. So this table wants to be completed by the end of the video. So we can insert how many calories we're going to be intaking every single day. Well, yours should be different to mine. So the next thing we need to do is we need to figure out how much percentage of your calories is going to come from fat, from protein, and carbs. Now note, if you don't know, we're going to do two different types of days. We're going to have a high carb day and we're going to have a low carb day. And the method we're going to use, we're going to have 3 days, which is going to be low carbs. And on the 4th day, it's going to be high carbs. And what's going to happen, you're just going to repeat that cycle over and over and over again. You're going to have a cheat day or cheat meal, 1 cheat meal a week, which is going to replace 2 meals on that day. But this is the pattern that you're going to remain in. So 3 days is going to be low carbohydrates. On the 4th day, it's going to be higher carbohydrates. So we need to figure out how many calories is going to come from fats, how many calories is going to come from protein, and how many calories is going to come from carbohydrates for both days. So very simple is you go 2,100. We're going to do fats. So 15% of fats is going to, and these are the percentages that you want to work out. So I've already done it for you. So 15% of your calories is going to be fats. So I need to figure out, done that wrong, 0.15 is 315. So 315 of my calories is going to come from fats. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to populate this table. Just a little tip, if you don't know. So if you put your calories, daily calories, 2,100, and you want to figure out the percentage. So the next one's 40%. So 40% of my daily calorie intake is going to come from protein. If you do times and then point, whatever the percentage is, so 0.4, because which will give you 40%, or you can put 0.4. If it's 45%, you put 0.45. If it's 25%, you put 0.25. If it's etc., etc. Okay, I'm going to pause and populate. Okay, so I'll populate the table. Remember, make sure you go over and populate into your PDF carb cycling template. Okay, next thing we are going to do is, now that we know how many calories, how many calories are going to be fat, protein, and carbs, we got to figure out the amount of grams. So how many grams of fat we can have, how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs. The reason why we're going to do this is because it makes it a lot easier when you come to creating your nutrition plan. Okay, so I'll go down a slide, and as you see, let me just fill this in quickly. Okay, so this is really, really simple. So daily grams, we don't need to do this. There's no number in this one. We can cross this one off. But if you don't know, 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, and 1 gram of carbohydrate also equals 4 calories. If you're first listening to this and it might sound like a Swahilian, don't worry, it did to me. But if you keep hearing this over and over again, it just clicks. And then you never forget it for the rest of your life. Okay? Very simple. So let's figure out the fats. So if fat is 9 calories per 1 gram, so we put our total, which is this one here, 315, and then we divide it by 9, and it gives us 35. So 35 grams is going to come from fats for me. The next one, which is 840, if it populates, like so, is 840 divided by 4, because as you see up here, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, equals 210. So 210 grams of protein is what I'm going to be eating every day. And then we do the last one, which is 945 divided by 4 equals 236.25. Again, just round it. So 236. So 236 grams of carbohydrates on my high carb day. As you can see, this is the high carb. And so we'll do the same over here. So I'm going to pause it and I'm going to populate this in the table. Right. So I populated it. I also sent it over to this table and populate on this table. Reason being, because if you're going to print this off, it's best to have it in front of you. So now that was the easy part. Okay. Now the next part is, this is easy. It just can be a bit tedious if I'm completely honest. But once you learn this, it's something that you'll never forget for the rest of your life, and you're never going to have to ask anyone to, how do you do this? You're always going to know. All right. So what we need to do, this is your nutrition plan that you're going to be having. This is day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and you're going to repeat. So you're going to, after the 4th day, you're going to go back to day 1 and you're going to repeat it. So what I'm going to show you, this is your template to use. You can use this template, and this is the template that I use, and this is the food that I'll eat within the week and repeat it. But there's things on here you don't like, or there's meals you don't like, you can change it. And what I'm going to do right now is show you how to do so. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I figure out my days, and then I'll show you how you can figure out any kind of meal that you want to put within this meal plan. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got 6 meals. You don't have to have 6 meals. If you've got the time and a commitment, and you can put the commitment towards it, then I'd recommend having 6 meals. If another one to note, the timing of your meals, you can have at any time you want. You can have all your meals at once if you want. So as you can see, I've got 6 meals here. If I really wanted to, I could have all 6 meals at once. I could have all in the morning. I could have all in the evening. If I wanted to, I woke up one morning and I really fancy this meal, I could have this meal for my first meal. I could have my first meal as my last meal. So it doesn't overly matter. You're still going to get good results, but get the best results is if you can evenly distribute your meals throughout the day. So here I've got 6 meals. So if I wake up at 6, my first meal is going to be at 6, and then 3 hours later, 9, then 12, then 3, then 6, then 9. So it's evenly distributed. If I only had 4 meals, then I'll distribute it evenly from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. Reason being, your body works like clockwork. It knows what to expect. It will utilize the resources better, and it will burn it better. Okay. So let's jump into it. What we need to do now is, as you can see, we don't need to really worry about the calories at the moment. We just focus on the grams, okay? And we are going to make sure our days hit these numbers. And if our days hit these numbers, then we are good to go. So what we're going to use is something called MyFitnessPal. If you don't know, it's a fantastic tool. I'd recommend using it on a laptop or a iPad if you've got one. And then if you hit add food, it should bring up a table like this. What we do, we put in the whole day of meal into the breakfast portion. So I'm going to include all of this, every single little bit, just the way it is, like it is. and I'm going to add it into this food like so. So I'm going to show you a couple, and then I'm going to add everything into it, and then I'm going to show you how you manipulate it so it hits your numbers. Okay, so it goes like so. So the first ingredient is 40 grams of oats cooked in water. So don't worry about that, just worry about the grams. So add food like so. Type in oats like so, and then hit oats. You want to kind of match the brands if you can. If you can't, don't beat yourself up too much, because the reason why, if you match the brands, you know, if you can see two different brands here and you've got two different types of calories, or this is a better one to see, but the calories are not hugely different. So try and match the brands if possible. If you can't, don't worry. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it says oats here, it says oats from Morrison's, or oats here, Sainsbury's oats, two different types of oats. Anyway, so I click Morrison's oats. As you can see here, it says 100 grams. I always put this on 1 gram. So that gives you different options. So if you hit 1 gram, re-enter bin, you can manipulate it so much easier. And now the servings, because obviously I've got 40 grams. So if I change my servings, so I have 40 servings, and then add it to the food diary, it means I'm going to have 40 grams of oats. And then what happens is oats, and what's really cool with this is what we're going to use. So as you can see, it gives you carbs, fats, and protein. And at the bottom, my total for this particular day is 24 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fats, 5 grams of protein. But this will come more apparent later. All you need to focus on right now is inserting everything. So the next thing is 100 blueberries. Like so. So add food like I did before. Type in blueberries. Blueberries. 1 cup, it's saying. Sometimes it doesn't let it change. Oh, here you go. So 1 cup, 1 gram. So it's 50 grams of blueberries, like so. Add to food diary. Add next food, which is 50 grams of whey protein. So all I'm going to type in is whey protein. I'm actually going to type in, so I get my protein from My Protein, that's a company, and then put whey protein, because it will then get the exact brand, because different brands, protein is the one that has the biggest difference with the calories. So I always have a flavored one. So it doesn't matter really which flavor, because each flavor is pretty much exactly the same calorie content. So I'm not going to do 1 scoop. I want to try and find something that allows me to have a gram. So here you go, vanilla whey protein, 1 gram, 50 grams, like so. Add to food diary. And then I'm going to insert the next one, so 4 eggs. So remember, I'm putting everything into it. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to populate this in quickly, and then you're going to see how it works. Just a note, there's some things that you can't put 1 grams. So for example, eggs. So I just picked large and put 4 of them in. Again, bread, so whole wheat, I type in whole wheat, and then put 2 slices. So I can't put 1 gram of a bread. So it does it in slices or quantities, right? Just a bit of a nugget. So to show you, I've inserted all of this into here, okay? And as you can see, it gives you the total at the bottom. So it's all my meals for the 1 day, for that day 1, low carb day. And now what we need to do is we need to match it with these figures. So I don't, oh, sorry, this is the high carb day. So this is a low carb day. So I've got to go onto the low carb side, like so. And I've got to match it with these numbers here, like so. So if we look at our total at the moment, our carbohydrate is 161. We need to have 158. So that's actually very close. We need to have 241 of protein. And here we have 236. Again, it's pretty close. We need to have 58 worth of grams of fats. Here's 81. So that is a little out of the way. Now, with this, if I was to look at this plan right now, with the numbers I've seen, I'd only change the one that change it so we can manipulate the fats a little bit. So you can be within 10, within the 10th, so 10 above or 10 below your carbs. Okay, so if we look at this, carbs 158, so I could be 168 or 148. So I could be a 10 above or 10 below. As we see here, 167, so I'm right in, so I'm fine. Same again with the protein, you can be 10 above or 10 below, okay? With the fats though, because fat, every gram of fat equals 9 calories, you can only be 3 above or 3 under, okay? Or even push for 4 or 5, right? It'd be a bit cheeky, right? But no more, otherwise you're getting out of your macros. So what I'm going to do, because I'm so close, I'm going to change it slightly. Let's just say, for example, I need 120. So 120 grams of carbs, which is a lot less, and I need, let's say, 210, and I keep this. So I only change it for this purposes. So what I do, let's say, let's try and get as close as we can to the fat first, okay? So I need to get as close as I can to 58 grams of fat. I look at the fats here, which is 81, so I need to drop it. And thankfully, I need to alter these as well. So I go down here, this fat column, and I find which one has the highest fat content. And as we can see, there's two. One is the tuna, and the other is the salmon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to alter it slightly. So here I have 200 grams of salmon. So I'm going to click it. So instead of having 200 grams, I'm going to cut that down to 175, like so. Hit save. It alters it for me. And then my fats have dropped. Lovely. So then I need to go to the next thing that has a lot of fats and drop it. So if I go to tuna, tin tuna, 250 grams, I click it. I'm going to put it to 200 grams. So take quite a bit away. And now I'm at 74. So I'm still quite far away. But you don't want to take it all from the same source, otherwise you might have nothing left. So I'm going to go down again and see what other things can I take it away from. If we look at the eggs is quite high in fat. So I've clicked eggs. Here I've got four portions of eggs. So I'm going to change it for 3, like so. Hit save. And now down to 69. What do we need to get to? We need to get to 58. So still quite far away. So if we look, vanilla protein, I'm going to keep that because I need that. And basically we just got to manipulate these 3. So if we just slice a little off each one consistently, then we're going to get to our target. So if we go to 150, so that's smoked salmon. Now at 65. If we go to tin tuna, so let's go for 150. That should probably get us quite close to it then. So bang, we're 2 away from our target. So I was trying to get to 58 or at 60. So brilliant. Now, if we go to the next one, so let's do our carbohydrates. So carbohydrates, we need 120. And so there's 167. Now, let's just pretend, just say, for example, because if we look at the protein's absolutely bang on now. So we're exactly what we want for the protein. But let's just say, for example, this one here needs to be 100 and what does it need to be? It needs to be 120, but our protein needs to increase. So say, for example, let's say our protein needs to increase to 230. What we have to do, because we've got to drop this by at least 30 by the looks of it, or 40, we go down the aisle to see which one's got a high carbohydrate content, which is this one here, and which is the Greek yogurt, but it also has a high protein content. So if we drop this, we're going to drop the protein content, and we don't want to do that. So we've got to find something that's got a high carbohydrate content but a low protein content. It doesn't matter if it drops, because we can counteract it when we find the protein source. Because look, you see here it's got a high protein source and low carbohydrates. So we can increase that. This one here, the chicken, and we don't have to worry about the carbohydrates going. So it doesn't matter if it drops a little bit, but we've got to be cautious. So here, if we look at a sweet potato, 60 grams carbs and very little protein. So we've got 300 grams. So I'm going to change that to 1 grams, and we're going to have 250 instead. So 250, and it's dropped it dramatically. And we can actually drop that quite a lot, to be honest. So let's drop it some more. So let's just drop it to 200. And at 174, we can drop it again because it's not really affecting anything else. This is probably the best source to drop it from. So 150, etc. So I'd probably want to, in fact, actually, I'm going to drop it even more. So 120, like so. And we're very close. So 130, and we wanted to get to 120. So fine, bingo, we're at 120. And we said we wanted to get our protein to 230, say, for example. We go down up the protein source. We see that chicken's very high in protein content. So if we add another 250, like so. Oh, look, bang on, 236. So we hit it right up there. We've ensured that our carbohydrate stays low. Now, if you notice, it's probably self-explanatory, but just to let you know. So I've inserted all the chicken that I'm going to be eating into the one little thing. So what I need to do now is I see I need 250 grams worth of chicken within 1 day. So I go back to my carb cycling plan. I look at my meals, my day one. I find the meals that have the chicken within. So here's chicken. So I got 1 portion. I got 2 portions. So 2 portions of chicken. So what I'm going to do is just divide the 2 portions of chicken between these two. So 125 here and 125 here. And just got to be mindful in that way. So that's how you calculate your nutrition. Okay. And you got to do it for every single one. And then what you got to do, you got to change these numbers. So 40 grams of oats. So this is no longer, it's already changed it. So it's 40 grams of oats. What else did we change? We didn't change much because mine was quite similar. So just say this was 30 grams of oats. I would have changed this to 30 grams, and that would have been my meal one. So that's how you create your meals. So you need to do it for every single one. However, if you don't want, 6 meals, all you have to do, take a meal away or 2 meals away, and then you're stuck with 4 meals. And then you just got to manipulate it for whatever you want. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually thinking about it. I'm going to insert another button here, and this button is going to have extra ingredients. So if you wanted to create a meal, it's very simple. You put in the meal in here, like I've done here, with all the ingredients that you're going to include, and then you just manipulate how much you have of what, how much of the carbs you have with it, how much of the proteins you have with it, how much of the fats you have it. So you can put any meal that you want in here, any ingredients, and as long as these numbers down here at the bottom match this table, you are good to go, and you can eat anything. The reason why I've used this is a very clever nutrition plan that I created a very long time ago, and what it does, it has pretty much everything that you need within a week. It has the right amount of red meat. It has the right amount of fish that you need. It has enough vegetables. It has enough. It has antioxidant fruit, should we say? It's really, really clever, and it gives your body what it needs, so your body can function properly. But you don't have to stick to this plan. This is just a guideline and a very clever plan. It's going to be hard regardless of the nutrition that you put together. So it's going to require a lot of discipline over the next few days or few weeks. So personally, I would create commitment in your mind and just be like, let's just stick to this plan. All right. So very simple, very easy to go. Very simple to do, very hard to actually do, but the rewards are phenomenal. So your tasks is to sit down and do this. Now, this could be a bit ball breaking, but just get on. It will take you an hour and a half to do maximum, but once it's done, it is done. And you're going to have a nutrition plan that you will guarantee your results. So go through it. You might enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy it. But it's rewarding the knowledge that you gain from it. So your task is to go through this, create your calories, figure out your macronutrients, and then manipulate your nutrition levels plan to fit your requirements, so you know what you're going to be eating. Right. Apart from that, I hope you enjoy. Adios, amigo.